Hi, Andy. Nice to see you. I wonder if anyone else is joining us. I decided just to start today with an icebreaker question, just to let the I don't know, for those of you in CET, so just me, like let the rest of the day leave the rest of the day behind us. So I'm going to ask a question, which is, um, if you were competing in the Olympics, what sport would you like to play? Since there's only four of us, I feel like we can get away with an icebreaker question. And I'll ask Andy. Why don't you start?
As I don't do a lot of sports, it would be definitely snowboarding in the Winter Olympics. Nothing more to add. I pass it to Septimus.
Thank you, Andy. Well, it depends. Like in the future, maybe there is some esports, electronic esports on the Olympic Games. Who knows? I think I see myself doing that. I mean, not now because I'm old, but I would see myself like being there. If that makes sense. And if that doesn't count as an esport, yeah, chess. I would love to play chess on Olympic Games. I used to play with my sister. She always beat me. I'm not good, but but yeah, I like it. And I'll pass it to Libby.
Yes.
I would love to do those, like it's kind of a dance and kind of gymnastics. You know those ones?
Yeah, it's called like
Yeah.
rhythm section or something. Gymnastics.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
cool.
I'll pick that. And I pass it to Griff.
Uh-oh.
The question is, if you were in the Olympics, what sport would you like to compete in? Total fantastical imaginary.
Man. Geez, like none of them. I guess basketball. I would love to play. I love basketball. I like frisbee, but I don't think that's an Olympic sport. Like, what's my frisbee? That would be really fun too. But I like team sports, so one of those two. I'll pass it to Zep.
Oh, I already went, and I think only Tam is. Yeah, only Tam.
And I'm picking judo, actually. I feel like that would be the funnest, the most fun. Okay, so actually we have a pretty light agenda today. So Eduardo has a lawyer's appointment and he won't be joining us. So I guess I'd start. Olivia, I know you're cooking and you sent me a bunch of updates for the curate sheet, but maybe I can add them later if you don't have a chance to add them. But I'm going to just ask everyone like 3 times a week to update the curate sheet. And then I guess I want to just share some of the recent feedback that I had from different hatchers and sort of get a group think around it. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I say something regarding the curate sheet? Like, Edu sent me 2 documents, and I created a new tab just to not touch anything, just in case I fuck it up. But if you open the document, yeah, I would like. I just what the thing I did is like pick the old one, organize it alphabetically, so it was easier for me if it was some duplicated to not have them duplicated. Um,
So can you help me? I know that it was this one, right? Copy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this one. And then the thing is, I didn't know what to put in this in a file, like contact notes, because yeah, I let all of them empty because I really didn't know what to put in there.
Okay. All right. And the purpose of this is for the projects outreach, to reach out to different projects and to, okay, perfect. And what is this one and this one? Do we need those anymore?
I feel like them could be deleted, but I didn't do that because I just prefer someone else do it. But basically, what this new tab, like this one, is like the previous one and link it with another document that someone give to Edu, and I only pick the ones we have email to contact. Like there is much more projects to reach out, but since they don't have email, I didn't add them here because Edu just told me like let's start with the ones we have emails.
Okay. All right. Maybe it looks like that was just accidentally copied there. I'll throw that in. Okay. I don't know. Maybe Griff, you know better where we are with projects. I have not been participating in that at all. So, we have on our agenda today to go through the steps of proposing a project, but that was something that Eduardo wanted more clarity on. So I'm proposing that we just save that for next week when he's available as well, instead of going through that one today. But from the perspective of where we are with projects who we've reached out to, let's take a look and see if there's anything in our Gitcoin.
I know Jay Rush wants to propose, and I believe Eduardo is working on it. I think that's the only.
Okay, it looks like Jake, but this could be other.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Okay, cool.
I had a few thoughts about it today when I was reviewing the audit from the Hatch Outreach. I think it almost doesn't belong projects to this working group, because it feels like the Hatch Outreach would have a very clear ending once that happens, and then maybe there would be the start of a new working group with a new manifesto and a new everything if we want to assist proposals on happening. But it feels like this has been confusing to be together with, to be here. Maybe it's closer to like Katie, even to like onboard people.
So are you proposing that? I mean, because we still need to do the work. So are you proposing that we would start a new working group or something, or like how do we still need to onboard projects before the hatch, so we have that currency potluck experience where we know that we're funding real projects.
Yeah, I propose a new working group and have like a hack session on it and create momentum. It feels like it's been buried somehow in the Hatch Outreach, and like it doesn't fit so much the discussion. It's a whole new everything to support proposals and reach out to, like, the only part is reaching out to the people, but then the intention is totally different.
To play devil's advocate, I think the other side of it is that a lot of the times when we talk to the hatchers, they're also the people who will propose projects. And so there's just like a little bit of a convenience factor of like, hey, we like the last one I did was Jerome, right, with you, Livia. And it's like, oh, you're teaching a token engineering class? Well, yeah, we should do a project about that, but I would agree that eventually it will need to be its own working group post Commons upgrade.
Yeah. So my thoughts on that is I can definitely see, well, certainly the hatcher part of this, right? When the hatch closes, the hatcher part goes away. But the projects part is something that is like community relations almost, like making sure that the projects are it's not just like this one-time touch where we touch them and we get them to propose and then we are done with them. It's more like engaging with the community consistently over time, all these projects. And I just ended a call with LeapDAO, with Max and Victor from LeapDAO. And towards the end of that call, it certainly turned into, with Jess too. So it turned into like, okay, the Hatch presentation is open, but now let's brainstorm about governance and what they need, what the TEC is doing, how we can cross. So it actually ended up being almost like a little working session towards the end of it. So, I mean, that just really supports what you're saying right now. It's like the project outreach is really like community. I don't want to say it's community building, but it is community building as well as project outreach. I'm seeing the scope expand as well to just, having proposals on the forum to actually being like helping grow a community of people. and cross collaborations.
Yeah. Yeah, almost like Gravity came out of SoftGov as like needing so much attention and space and a different, I feel like it's almost energetic. I don't know, I can't explain. Like it feels like it's just not flowing being in here. And maybe like a different, like everything would, I know it's a, maybe I can propose something and then from there see if anyone like thinks is a good idea. Otherwise we just keep as it is.
Okay. Go ahead, Seth.
I really like the idea, like when you create a new working group, you like Livia was saying, like I just want to say, like, I'm supporting Livia, like you create the momentum. For example, like when we did transparency, I was feeling okay. We should start, start brainstorming new things to do, and yeah, you approach it more focusedly. Like right now in this working group, there is so much focus on the hatchers, and even when the proposals like go through the forum, there is not that much follow up. And I feel if there was some working group very focused on that, like all these forum posts would have answers and some more interaction.
We sort of formed a working group, but it has been under the Hatcher outreach, so it's really just it's not a public channel. It's just a chat, mostly for coordinating, kind of like how we have the How G coordination chat. And in there's some documentation and some things that are exactly along the lines of what you said, Zep, where it's like, hey, let's make some comments in the forum. Let's promote some of the cooler projects on Twitter. Let's engage. Let's make it so that when people propose to us, it's the best thing that ever happened to them, but it doesn't seem like, yeah, maybe there needs to be some sort of refresh around, and maybe formalizing it into a working group is that like, oh, we're part of a working group,
Yeah, and in some ways, it's exactly what you say. Like you go back to like, what is the mission of this group, right? I think the Hatcher outreach, our mission, like the mission here is sort of convoluted. It came from onboarding, and then it morphed into this, and then so there's something interesting really about like, well, what are the objectives of project outreach? I guess in some ways we have subdivided, like the Hatcher outreach subdivided into a projects team and a Hatchers team only because there's just so much work, that it was like, I honestly think it maybe should have been two projects from the beginning. I mean, two working groups from the beginning. And maybe that way, we prioritized Hatcher over projects. So Hatcher got a lot of momentum. And now that it's doing really well, it's sort of like, also we want projects to get the same momentum, the same like rush. So I actually find it a really compelling idea. And I'm intrigued by exploring like how we can re-energize projects. Yeah. But not for like, we've been looking at projects up sort of like until the commons upgrade. But I actually think we have a long-term vision of projects now. And the long-term vision is like, what is projects in the TEC? Like, what is that working group in the TEC? And is it projects, or is it community building, or is it like, what is that for keeping vibrant the people that are coming in and submitting projects? What is that work? So I actually really like the idea. I didn't have enough time to think about it, so I feel like I was a little hesitant to go any way. But the more I think about it, the more I really like this idea. Okay. Cool. So thanks for sharing this. Is that? I'm not sure what to do with it quite yet, but we will maybe have an update from Eduardo when he's able next week, or later this week or next week. Okay. We've been doing a lot of last week or the week before, Jess sent us a list, or added to our list, a number of people. Actually, let me see if I could just find them. And we've been going through them. And so a lot of people basically in the ecosystem. We've spoken with Leap DAO, with Max Song from Carbon Base and ARC projects, and from one of Common Stack's advisors. So her name is Abby, and she's from a group called Radical, or she's working with a group called Radical. And we have a lot more of these sort of like efforts in the DAO, like DAO projects in the space that we will be reaching out to in the next few days. Honestly, personally, I feel like the struggle is the time for putting the dates in the calendar. Like that's what I'm finding to be like my challenge, like my personal challenge right now. Some of the things I just want to sort of bring up around the hatch outreach portion is that I'm seeing that the hatch deck is stale, so I've refreshed it. Some of the dates have passed. You know, the activate your membership by the 20th of April. So I'm doing a new version, and if you do use it, please use the new latest version. And also, if you are sending it to anyone, use the printout from the latest version. And I'm finding I keep coming up against this not enough time. I know I've brought it up before, and I certainly do try this, like you can participate as little or as much as you want, you know, we're here for you. We're like building the community that will be able to build DAOs in the future. But I mean, almost every single one is like, now that we're reaching out to people that are building DAOs, they're all just like, I'm heads down. I don't like it. It's a time thing. Everyone is really excited and wants to participate, but I hear the time issue come up a lot. So maybe I just wanted to ask, Livia, I know that you, Griff, okay, go.
Yeah, actually, I had a fun conversation with Michele about this, and in fact, I'll just paste it in, or at least what I said. I think I can paste what I said, and that's perfectly fine in the Hatcher Outreach channel.
Yeah.
And basically, it's like, hey, you don't have to do anything. You know, token engineers are not expected to come into our project and do work. But what is expected is for you to like, well, there's different levels, right? If you see this as you want to just have an impact investment in advancing token engineering, throw money in the hatch and forget about it. It's not the preferred option, of course, but it is an option. You are a token engineer in 2021, and there aren't very many of you. So like, we'd like to collect you. And if that's all you want to do, that's fine. The next level is, you know, basically like Gitcoin, except you're not donating, you're just voting. So once you have your tokens and you got a really sweet deal on these tokens, now you can actually, you know, participate in kind of like in the same experience as Gitcoin. You go through, you look at some projects, you support the ones you like, except different from Gitcoin, all the projects are TE related. And all the projects, instead of having to donate, you're just voting. It doesn't cost you anything. So it's even better. And also, if you make good decisions, it will actually, and the rest of the society appreciates the work that the decisions that are made, you might make money, which is crazy, right? And then the third option, which is the next level, is, hey, like maybe you want to create a standard in the TE space. Maybe you want to, you know, get your work in front of other people. This is the way to do it. You would have an opportunity to kind of get a stamp of approval. It's like getting a grant from the Ethereum Foundation, right? It's like, oh, that's something you put on your website. So you could actually participate. You could create a proposal, and you could do all these things. The thing I didn't add, which we could, but we don't have this set up yet, but we could also have like special token holder rooms that like you can only get in if you have so many tokens and things like that. So there's other conversations, but basically, it's like, hey, worst case scenario, this is an impact investment for token engineering, for advancing token engineering. And then, it's like Gitcoin, except focused on token engineering instead of, and it doesn't cost donations. It's just voting. And then, hey, you could participate. The TEC is going to be a showing point for future token engineering ideas, and you will have a say in that.
Yeah, those were very good points, actually. So if I can just recap it, because I really like the way you express it, of course. So one of the feedback that I got was, this is an angel check, like somebody was like, of course I'm in, this is an angel check. So sort of like that impact investing for token engineering. And I think, again, I want to, how do I say it? Like, one of the things, like, it seems like the same issue around, like, how do we convey that there is I'm sorry, I feel like I keep asking the same question here, but it's like, how do we best convey that there is probable, likely profit? It's sort of, that's like, I know that we started with that and everyone's super interested in participating, but it still is perception, maybe because of the way I'm doing it. And I don't shill that point enough because I feel uncomfortable shilling that point. But it's like, this is an angel check. We want to participate in this. We know you guys are doing great stuff. And I was like, well, how do I say it's not an angel check? Damn it.
Well, angel investors
still
have a chance to money, right? It's definitely better than an angel check because you're buying token, you're initializing a bonding. And if they're a token engineer, they should figure that out. Like that, it's a good filter. If they don't understand what initializing a bonding curve means, then like maybe they don't, maybe they're not token engineer. No, that might be a little bit too highbrow. But initializing a bonding curve is a pretty privileged position to be in, and when we have the Commons upgrade dashboard and they get to vote on what the open price will be, that's when it will click, right? Like, oh, hey, the hatch price was 5 cents or whatever. The open price is 10. Oh, okay, I'll put more money in, and we'll get there. It's definitely a priority to at least get designs out for that functionality before the hatch is over. That's a must.
Yeah.
We'll delay the hatch if that doesn't seem possible.
Okay. Can we delay the hatch? Oh, delay the hatch. Okay, so delay launching it. Yeah, okay. That's actually a really, really, really smart point. And yeah, I think that once we have the Commons upgrade configuration dashboard, it'll be a lot easier to see. And I think that we won't need to say as much. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that we'll have the dashboard ready for people to use, but at least we'll have a design where people can see and play with specifically the open price.
So it sort of dovetails nicely into the next issue, which is like, what kind of, like, do we need more content for hatch outreach? One of the things that I'm realizing as I'm outreaching to people who will certainly not get back to me because, they're very far outside our concentric circles and they are extremely, extremely busy. So I can send them a Twitter or DM, I can send them an email, but they're just not going to get back to me. But if I send them one page of like, here's the TEC hatch in one page, might get back to me, right? So I'm already working on like, what is the one page for the TEC hatch? And I'm thinking like, what other tools like that can we have, or articles, or something that can visualize the bonding curve as an aid for explaining the privileged position of entering the hatch.
It gets a little scary because there's opposing forces. The hatch doesn't have the bonding curve, so making a lot of content for it is confusing. It has already confused people. They're like, so where's the funding pool? So which one of these is the funding pool and which one's the bonding curve? So I don't know. There's no bonding curve in the hatch. And so I'm like scared to talk about the bonding curve in some ways until we actually parameterize but because it was like, oh, look, here's all this great stuff about the bonding curve. unless we're really clear when we make that content that's like, this is not in the hatch, this is for the commons upgrade, you know, and really nail that home.
I think that two-phase approach is pretty clear to everyone now. I haven't got a lot of confusion around that anymore. I mean, the confusion around the two-phase hatch is gone. I don't, yeah.
For parameterizing the bonding curve, doing user testing, 2 people asked about where the bonding curve is in that when they're hatch. So
because they haven't spoken with me yet. No, I'm just kidding. Right. Okay. I see. And maybe it's interesting. Maybe we add to the dashboard that the sort of hatch diagram or something like where is this? Where do you parameterizing now? Oh, you're parameterizing this phase. The next phase comes later, right? Or something like that. It could be a super simplified version of that, actually. But maybe that'll be helpful for people knowing where they are in the process. Like, now you're here. You're initializing the hatched out. Next, right? Okay.
I saw Olivia unmute. I don't know if she wanted to say something.
Oh yeah, no, I was gonna say that Abby actually had that question yesterday. Like, oh, so we're gonna be initializing the bonding curve. Like, I think maybe like an infographic with just, because I was looking at that infographic today, and I feel like that that worm, that goes from one step to the end might sound confusing, as if the second step was happening, definitely. Like, maybe if we separate them into 1 and 2, like not connected by any lines, it would be clear that they are separate things.
Yeah, there's like this, you could barely tell there's a gradient, like a very fine gradient, and it's not fine enough. We had somebody who was going to try to assist with this, but his designer has had some family emergencies, and doesn't know that he'll be able to do it at all. But I do agree that having a better display, like a better visual, could be very helpful. Did you call it a worm?
I'm sorry.
Does it look like a worm going through? Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I see what you're saying. I mean, what I meant was, like, after people have this Hatcher session, or we talk about these two phases, then there's no more confusion about it. But it's unusual for a DAO to launch in 2 phases. So the assumption is always it's 1 phase, right? Like, the assumption is always, oh, you're hatching, so you're launching the bonding curve. That's cool. And it's sort of, and that's why, and maybe.
And there's baggage from the common stack always talking about this as like, you initialize the bonding curve, that's the hatch. And now we're changing it. The hatch is creating a DAO, and then the DAO upgrades. So there's probably even old content there that is bad.
Oh, interesting point, actually. So I guess my question is still, like, can we have more, like, would it be helpful to have more explainers? We have your piece on how to become a hatcher, right? Do we have a piece on the two-phase approach? No, right? Maybe.
Not a piece, just the vote.
What do you mean, just the vote?
We usually link to the vote that we had to decide to launch in 2 phases. It's the vote that actually Jess was a blocker, and it was really fun. It was a good vote. It was a good one. Probably the best.
I will just say that any of you have seen any of the infographics I've made, I've volunteered to have somebody explain something to me and then help me, visualize it. I'm really good at that. So I think I've shown some of the folks on this call some of my previous work. So just FYI, thanks.
I volunteer to explain it to you, Durgadas. Yeah, it would be great. I think the person that was going to do it is not able to do it without his designer, who's had a family emergency. So
Yeah, I'm a designer,
so great. Actually, that sounds fantastic. Thank you.
I do. I'm like a Swiss Army knife here. So
Help make the. Okay, excellent.
yeah, any complicated concepts that you need made simple and easy to understand and beautiful.
Yeah.
That's me.
I don't know that it's going to get more complicated than this. So fantastic. Perfect. Okay. And then maybe like the 2-phase approach. Anything else like in your like outreaching to people, any other information that we can share? Here's my thinking too, to be more transparent. This one-on-one phase approach is very time consuming. And I feel like if we had one article that was who the audience was, everyone we know is interested in the space, but we might not have time to personally touch something really clear. So thoughts about that? Yeah. Like, and something that explains what the TEC hatch, basically like the deck in an article form, right? Like, or in some simple form, just to say, here is what the TEC is. Here's the macro view. Here's the micro view. Here's the macro view. Here's the phase. And what are your next steps?
Good God, just let me do it. I just so want to do it exactly this thing. Just explain it to me. This is the thing I want to know. If I can know it, I can put it down and make it into a beautiful, awesome, amazing graphic.
It would be interesting to see that as a part of announcing the MVV. Like we could start now without knowing which MVV is going to be selected, but it could just be like, a nice exclamation point, like the day after that we have the final results for the MVV. That's like, okay, step 1 complete. We have a mission vision. We have the community has decided, what the mission vision values of the TEC is. Here are the next now we move. Here's the next steps, right? Here's what's going to happen next, and then good infographics and da da da. It's a good deadline. It's a week away, and it's a good opportunity to kind of like be like, whoa, these guys are revolutionary. Like the community decided the mission vision values. Like, where's their cabal? Like,
yeah. I mean, the feedback from everyone in the DAO space is like, this is amazing what your guys are doing. Like, it's really flattering, actually, that they have such high opinions of the TEC. Other feedback I have, Griff, have you had a chance to do any hash?
probably.
I know you have like a million other things going on, but
yeah, this is sort of a vacation week for me, but or like the last 2 weeks of traveling. But let me look. I don't think just Jerome. I don't know if that was already talked about. And then I feel like there may have just been a couple people that I was talking to about other things, and then I was like, "Hey, TEC, let me chill." But I don't think there's. I don't think I got any new soft commits or anything.
Okay. There's one other thing that came up, and it is it came from the Leap DAO conversation around actually and also the carbon-based conversation about how they can become more involved, like specific people that want to either join the SoftGov working groups, and learn from the SoftGov working groups, or join a params party, or I think for carbon-based, they are interested in the legal aspects of Common Stack, and they're thinking of launching a DAO and want to use the learnings from the TEC. Oh, I have one question, actually. Sorry, this is an important one. So we were asked whether there is going to be a non-whitelisted pre-launch token sale.
No.
That's what I thought, but I had to bring it up. And I actually, the question why I was not able to say no definitively was, is that something that would be a parameter, like that the community would decide?
I mean, that is just that is basically what the hatch is. The hatch is this whitelisted, you know, pre-sale effectively. I mean, we're actually forking a contract that was called pre-sale. Like that's what the Aragon fundraise contract for the hatch was that we forked. And I mean, I made a comment like 2.5 years ago, like, God, get rid of that name, you know? But yeah, that's what the hatch is.
Okay.
I would
And
say that decision was already made in the legal working group. Like the legal working group voted to decide to use the trusted seed. And the trusted seed means close hatch.
okay. And so then just to be 100% clear, so then it won't be even a parameter that can be considered during the initialization of the bonding curve or the configuration of the bonding curve.
I mean, the parameter is the membership ratio, right? For the
Okay.
hatch. But that's
But that assumes the membership comes from the hatch, yeah.
mhm,
Can I
comes
make an
from-
observation here?
mhm.
Just as far as communicating this to people, it does rather seem that based on Griff's insights and sort of understanding of how things can go wrong in certain areas, we've made conscious choices to do things like you guys are talking about now. Like, instead of doing the typical thing, we're doing this other thing, which ensures, some other. And I think that's probably an excellent view into our vision, mission, and values, frankly, because we're really sincerely attempting to try to do these things. And I'd like to, in some way, visually represent that. If I was to, try to do that, that story of money is broken. The whole, a lot of the high level stuff that Griff sort of talks about, around strategizing around preventing potential problems that exist in the DAO and crypto spaces, I think need to be put in there somehow.
Yeah, I hope Fabe fixes their stuff so that we can use them as a golden like example of how not to do things. But they have to succeed first. They have to come back from it.
Okay. And then there's another thing around, and it's probably in progress already. Actually, Griff, maybe you would know best. The like quadratic voting for params. Mitch is probably working on that already, right? Like reusing maybe the MVV but like the article to describe voting for params.
The Rock the Vote article is generalized enough that we would just change some links and continue to use it because it's like it actually uses the coordination repo as an example and then goes into the MVV. But like the details there, I mean, I guess we could just fork it and make another one, and that's very focused on parameters. But it basically like.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we could take it and clean it up and make it shorter and very focused on the parameters if we want.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. It does link to like mission, vision, values stuff too. So maybe a version that just doesn't. I mean, it's done. It's ready. It should be like now sending people to understand quadratic voting for the params. Now that we're done almost with the mission, vision, and values vote.
Mhm.
Okay, I have nothing else that I added to the agenda, so I will open for anyone else. And then if not, I don't know if there's any updates from project outreach. It looks like most of the people on the project outreach team aren't even here, so. Yep.
I have a quick question about, so when you're reaching out to people that didn't provide a soft commit and they said they would do it later, I feel so awkward to message them back about this. Is that something we should do? Or if you guys do it, how do you do it?
The way I describe the soft commit is actually, I just honestly, the way we're using it, which is it's a number that gets added to all the other numbers and you're not associated with the soft commit. We throw it like, this is a number we'll just throw away. And it helps inform us to be able to set a minimum raise that's respectable. So it's not 10 DAI, but that's also achievable. So based on the soft commit, our community will decide what our minimum raise should be. So it's actually like they're helping us be successful when they do when they share a soft commit, and that it's not binding, and that nobody's going to look at it and nobody's going to check on it ever again is, I think, what has really worked best when I follow up.
You could say, hey, we have 83 soft commits so far, which add up to this amount. We'd like to add yours in. Could be.
Cool. Thanks. Yeah, that's helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done that. I've done that in a call, and the response was really, the response was like, how can we get you guys to raise more? And then, and I'm going to pass it to Griff actually just to share, like, because I think I've heard you explain it before. So I tried to paraphrase your explanation of, we don't want actually to raise more. We want to have the right people in the hatch. But maybe you could talk about that for 2 more minutes before we close out the meeting.
Sure. I mean, yeah, that's definitely that. Like, we want people who care about the value of token engineering. We don't want a bunch of. I mean, you should look at the Fey, the tribe holders on Fey, right? Like, it's just the perfect example. They raised $1 billion. There are people with 100% swap, and they're like, "What? You're giving the Fey?" Because yesterday they upped the Fey to today they're creating a vote to bring the Fey peg to 95 cents. And the whole point of tribe token holders is to bring is like they get rewarded if they can, their success is based off of Fey's peg. But everyone who put in money is like, what the hell? Like, tribe holders are not being rewarded. It's like, well, guess what? Tribe holders, your project is failing. Like, you shouldn't be rewarded. You invested in in something that's not working. But in theory, right, if you can get the peg to be back to $1 and start integrating Fey into the ecosystem as a stable token, then your the fact that you have shares in this project will matter, right? But they're short-term focused. They're focused on making profits. And we don't want to just get easy money that's trying to make profits and extract value from us. We want to create value and bring in the right people to help us create value. Like, if you're hiring for a startup, you just don't like say, hey, who wants to help? And like, oh yeah, you can be CFO, like, no, you want the right people in the right positions doing the right thing. And it can be a little bit more generalized because of a DAO structure, but that doesn't mean it should just be opening the floodgates. So yeah, if we have a smaller raise with the right people, then we'll probably be more successful than if we have a bigger raise with a bunch of people who are trying to extract value.
Yeah, you say it better than I do, but that was more or less what I shared. Okay.
I don't know. I'm too long-winded.
All right, cool. That's it. So we have 10 minutes, 14 minutes actually. So I say we end this call. And if you haven't, well, it's just, I can use the next few minutes to reach out to Jake and Juan Carlos and see if they have any updates for TEC Curate.